I think the most important thing to really kind of drive home here is that exercise is really good for sleep.
Okay.
Okay? The vast, vast majority of people will benefit from exercising more to improve their sleep. And specifically, exercise really helps to improve the deep sleep that we get, which is that
Mm.
kind of physically regenerative sleep, the man that makes you feel restored and well. So the vast, vast majority of people would do well to increase or exercise more regularly to improve their sleep. There can come a tipping point though, if your exercise is really intense, if your exercise is really long, if you are spending a lot of time, dedicating to it. And the tipping point is it's not the exercise itself. It's not that too much exercise on its own will impact your sleep or make your sleep
Okay.
worse. It's the consequences of the too much exercise, right? So people who are exercising loads and loads will start to get muscle aches and pains. It's kind of inevitable. And those pains, those aches and pains can impact your sleep. They can make it more difficult to get off to sleep. They can wake you up from your sleep through the night. But also, what happens with a lot of people that they don't actually realize is that it's like more minor aches and pains will not quite wake you up. They're not kind of severe enough to wake you up, or you don't realize you're waking up, but they will lighten your sleep. So the quality
Mm.
of sleep that you get isn't as effective. So if you're exercising to the degree of, really kind of getting a lot of aches and pains in your muscles, then that can have a knock-on effect. But remember, the increased exercise will make your body want to sleep more, make your brain want to sleep more. It's where the kind of increased pain kind of balances out. Yeah. So a little bit of increased pain, but a lot of extra sleep drive, you're still going to be getting more sleep than
Mm.
if you weren't doing that. It's when the pain gets to a certain level where it's outweighing that increased sleep that you're getting through exercise that it can have an impact. And that's probably what you were seeing. You mentioned about your difficult, or your trainer said you would have difficulty training at the end of the half marathon or the half Ironman, sleeping rather, sorry, at the end of the half Ironman, and that's exactly the reason, because you're going to have a lot of lactic acid buildup in the muscles. You're going to have a lot of aches and pains in the joints, and that is something that's going to lighten your sleep that night. That night, probably for something like a half Ironman, probably for a few nights to come, but it obviously it will get better with time. So yeah, it's a bit of a balance. So aches and pains are one inhibitor. Your kind of sleep schedule is another inhibitor. This is very dependent a little bit on the sport. So sports like swimming and rowing have this kind of inbuilt culture of getting up crazy early to train before the normal day. So they're up at 5 a.m. They're in the pool at 5 a.m. or in the boat at 5 a.m. rowing, and what that has is it has the effect of unnaturally cutting your sleep short.
Mm.
And so rowers, swimmers, sometimes people, there's this kind of 5 a.m. club these days who like to get out and run. And in most cases, these people are shortchanging themselves of sleep, and so not getting enough sleep is a really big problem, particularly for physical performance. Sleep is really really important for your recovery in between competition, for your recovery after training sessions, recovery of your muscles and your joints. Sleep is really, really important for your performance the next day, for your peak strength, your peak running speed, all of those things. Getting a good night's sleep is really important. So, my hope is that over time, we can start to persuade these kind of sporting institutions to change their culture and shift their training times. There is actually some um, interesting data out there from studies that training at your competition time is probably the most optimal thing you can do. So,
Mm.
so my kind of message to swimmers and rowers, or at least their institutions, is that your swimming and rowing races aren't at 5 o'clock in the morning, so you shouldn't be training at 5 o'clock in the morning. There is evidence that training at the time of your competition will help you adapt better and perform better. So, the pain's part of it. Cutting your schedule short is part of it.